Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We all know that memorizing Chinese characters is one of the most challenging tasks in Chinese language learning. In my last 3 videos, I addressed the importance of recognizing Chinese characters by part. We can also call it component, instead of stacked strokes or as a whole. In my last 2 videos, I wrote out more than 100 characters stroke by stroke. I also grouped them up by shared component to help you find the similarities and connections among characters. Feel free to check them out. In this video, I'm going to review 4 evidence-based methods that you can use to develop your own learning system to memorize Chinese characters more efficiently. No matter what learning method you use, repetition is the ultimate key in second language learning because we all know that practice makes it perfect, right? We gotta practice over and over again. I remember back in college, I struggled so much to remember GRE vocabulary, and my GRE coach kept telling us the only way to acquire vocabulary is to repeat. If you learn a word once, twice, and still don't get it yet, look at it every day until you form muscle memory, meaning that you know this word without thinking. And the spaced repetition system provides us a more scientific repetition method. I will use Anki as an example to explain it. Anki is an app that implements spaced repetition method that you can use to create your own flashcards. So basically, you create your own flashcards, and Anki will show this card to you in a few minutes. You may most likely get it right because it's only been a few minutes. Then you'll see it again on the second day. If you get it right, it'll be like, alright, this learner got it up until this point. And then Anki will show the same word to you in 3 or 4 days. This time, if you get it wrong, you'll see this word on the very next day. So long story short, if you keep getting this word right, Anki will space out how often you see this flashcard. Once you get it wrong, you'll see this word more often until you get it right. Pretty smart, right? You got an idea. I personally prefer to create my own flashcards. I'm currently learning Korean. I will create flashcards my own to practice important vocabulary from my textbook. Usually, I will go over a set of flashcards over and over again until I feel pretty confident about this set of words. And then I will go over it one more time like a test to test myself. Usually I can get maybe 80% right or 90% right. I will pick out the ones I get wrong to separate them. When I'm on the go, I will take the flashcards that I get wrong so that I can look at them when I have a few minutes to spare, like when I'm waiting for my friends or waiting for my coffee to come. Implementing the spaced repetition system, I expose myself more often to the ones I get wrong. After a few days only going over the difficult ones, I will put them back, shuffle them up, and repeat this process. A side note, customize flashcards all you want, but remember you may want to keep the information simple rather than lengthy because flashcards are meant to be a quick review instead of a complex explanation. Second, after you feel more comfortable with the words, go ahead and start reading sentences or narratives from your textbook so that you will look at these words among all different words around it. This will challenge you more recognizing these characters and also bring you up to a higher reading level. Now let's move on to the next one, mnemonic method. Let me explain it. It's actually the most fun method. You basically make things up to help you memorize things better. For example, when we learn English, we may find some words hard to differentiate, like here and here. Then I'll make a sentence like, I hear with years. Pretty easy, right? Let's take a look at some Chinese characters. This character, bo, means uncle. We can easily recognize the person radical on the left and a character bai, meaning white, on the right-hand side. Then I make my own story about this character. The person with silver white hair is my uncle. Another character, xiu, means to rest. We can see a person radical on the left and character mu, meaning tree, on the right-hand side. Can you think of a story for this character? A person against the tree is resting. In my opinion, this method can come in very handy for beginners. Think about it. When you first start learning a new language as a beginner, everything about this new language can seem very foreign and hard to understand. By making a story up, you find a mental connection. It can be a silly story or a funny picture that make you laugh and not forget easily. I find this method very helpful for me in my Korean learning. I started learning Korean a couple months ago. When I first started, their characters are relatively easy for me because they're like an easier version of Chinese characters. But there are a lot of spelling rules to read those characters in a sentence. For example, there are different spelling rules involving these two components. One of the rules is that when they encounter in two characters side by side, this component would be muted. We will not pronounce it. So I made up a story for them. I think of these two components as two people, a pretty girl and a naughty boy. The pretty girl got pissed off by this naughty boy and she ran away, which means we're not going to pronounce it. Now, after a couple months practicing, I pretty much mastered the spelling rules and I don't need to refer to these stories ever again when reading. This is the reason why I said you may not need this method when you get to a certain level of fluency. A side note, the weakness of this method. In my opinion, we may not have the time and energy to make up story for every single character we learn. So just use it when you need to. It's pretty fun and practical. Now let's move on to the next one. Breaking down characters into parts and understand the structure. We all know by now that the right way to read Chinese characters is to recognize them by component. This is exactly how natives learn characters as well. Here I will recommend some tools you can use to learn components when learning characters by yourself. A learning dictionary called Arch Chinese that I used in my last two videos. Let's see, when you enter the character Jing, you can simply see its radical and two other components. If you click the first component, you can easily see its pronunciation and meaning. An app called Train Chinese you can easily download on your phone has the same features. You can simply see its components. After the character you search pops up, click character. Then you will see its two components. Let's say the component on the left-hand side still seems complex to you. So you can try to click it again, see if this part on the left-hand side consists of any other components. Let's try it. And after we click it, there are actually two components on the left. This feature can also be accessed on Arch Chinese. You can find this feature on many platforms like Skritter and Written Chinese. Feel free to check out the info box down below for my review on their pros and cons. Here a tip for you. You can simply implement this method into your flashcards by marking different components using different color. Speaking of writing characters, please don't be intimidated. First, be clear about your learning goal. If you're at beginning to intermediate level, you're probably not expected to physically write an essay in Chinese, especially in this digital time that typing is more practical. However, writing characters is the best way to reinforce recognizing and memorizing characters. You can create your own flashcards. You can do dictation by writing out characters when going through flashcards. You can also use models to train for more beautiful structure. Remember what your learning goal is. We have a saying in Chinese, 好记性不如烂笔头, meaning writing it down is better than keeping in mind, no matter how excellent your memory is. Alright guys, we just addressed 4 evidence-based methods to help us memorize Chinese characters more efficiently. Now I want you to pause a second and think about what your learning goal is, what your learning style is, and time management. Then you may feel better about coming up your own learning plan by implementing these useful methods. Alright guys, if you find this video helpful, please give it a thumb up so that it can reach more people. Feel free to comment down below about any questions you have, and you're also welcome to share any method you find useful in learning Chinese characters. I'll see you next time. 再见